warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening to everyone. My name is Azizolarsham Azari and I'm from U61. This afternoon I'm going to present about mythical creatures. But first, what are mythical creatures that I'm going to talk about? There are a lot of creatures in this world, but some are considered mythical. Mythical or legendaries are creatures that is usually found in folklores or fairy tales and mythology. And these are some of the pictures of the examples of legendary creatures. As you can see, I have chosen a lot of pictures, and these pictures is encompassing from different cultures, which is this green turtle over here is Kappa, which is basically the guardian of the river in Japan. And these two green beings is leprechauns, and these two creatures is leprechauns and elf. And this is, as you have known, this is Chucky. And Chucky loves to kill people. Okay, today, this afternoon, I am going to talk about why people do think that these creatures, even though there is no scientific reason that these creatures actually exist. And these creatures that I'm going to talk about are vampires, werewolves, flying Dutchmen, and also I am going to talk about what the scientific theories on these creatures, which means the reasons or the scientific explanation why that these creatures actually do not exist. And I am also going to talk about because people believe that science can solve everything, but actually it's not yet. And these two examples are the parts of the things that science cannot explain that I'm going to explain today. I didn't, by the sentence I mean just now, I didn't mean that science cannot explain, but I can explain them. What are vampires? As you have known, I believe that all of you must have known what is a vampires. Vampires, it is coming from different cultures, such as you can find one of the vampire in Twilight. I believe most of you watch the movies. And Pontianak is also one of the vampires, which is famous in the Malay culture. But today, I am going to talk about the famous Count Dracula, which is come from the European folklore. As you can see over here, I've stated here that this myth of the Count Dracula or vampires actually mostly strongly rooted in East European, and I believe it is the place, this East European is Transylvania. These are the evidence that shows that why people believe that vampires actually exist. Back then, during the bubonic era, or the day or the era when the millions of people are dying due to bubonic plague, and since they believe that bubonic plague is actually a curse from gods, because people believe they are cursed for their sins, so they believe that vampires are created or sent by divine intervention to punish all the people. So, in order to prevent the humans or themselves from being killed by the vampires, they exhume or dug the grave again, and they saw this result. The corpse, which has been engraved for a lot of months, is in still a good condition or a living light state, because the body has a growth of fingernail and a growth of hair, and the body is swelled like a drum, and this indicates that these beings or corpse of vampires actually alive, and they come to a village and drink all the blood of the kettles, which explains why the kettles are dead. And also, And this theories or assumption is furthermore enhanced because they can see blood on the body of the dead, which is these facts. Okay, I'm going to talk why that all these facts is actually not real. I mean, science has explanation for this. For example, the death of a cattle, of the sheep, relatives, or the neighbor is actually these organisms are dying because back then during the bubonic plague, all the bacteria, which is I'm not sure what the name of the bacteria are, but it's very viral. Once you touch them, or it can be shared by airborne or rodents, because the urine of rodents can actually infect you with bubonic plague, and the infects will die. So, and this reason, why the body swell up like a drum, is actually not the corpse, it's a vampire, but it's a gas that builds up in their tummy. So, because the body is, I forgot what's the word. The body is rotten, so the build-up of gas due to bacteria will swell the body. So when they poke the tummy of the corpse, it's like it will produce a sound. So they thought it's a groan from the vampires, but it's actually the build-up of pressure in the tummy that causes it to sound like a groan, but it's actually just an air coming out from the tummy. And this here, blood on mouth coupled with a ruddy complexion is not actually a blood, but it's actually the blood of the dead, the corpse, because the body decomposes, so including the gum. And this gum contains a lot of blood, that's why it's red. And when it decomposes, the blood from the gum, it looks like that the dead is actually eating blood because the teeth is full with blood. Okay. The other way of arguing that vampires do not exist is people believe that this vampirism is actually due to a skin diseases, which is called porphyria, or is this one? This one? As you can see here, the build-up of porphyrin, or a group of heme, the build-up of porphyrin, a chemical, this build-up of porphyrin will then decrease the amount of heme in blood. Therefore, the people will have less heme, and when they have less heme, the transport of oxygen will be less. So, in order to survive, the mechanism of surviving or survival of the fittest, they will drink blood from other people or other animals in order to sustain their life, because they need that heme, which is a molecule which is found in the red blood cell. It is also believed that these diseases is causes by infections or hepatitis C virus or inbreeding. There's a theory stating that I believe that you guys know what is Transylvania. It's a place in Europe which is famous with the vampires, and it is believed in Transylvania there's a lot of inbreeding occurring there. So since there's a lot of inbreeding, basically people are marrying with their close relation. For example, the first cousins marry with the first other cousins. So when they marry, the offspring or the babies will then are prone to diseases, which is this inbreeding thing. In order to determine that if someone is actually have this disease porphyria, doctors have diagnosed it through the blood of the infects, the urine, and stool test. Stool test is basically they take your feces and check the content of the feces. Though this disease is very rare, I believe it only affects only small population, less than 20% of the world population. And so due to rarity, it is very difficult to diagnose. So for example, if someone has this disease, doctors have difficulty. These are the symptoms, As you can see, this kid here, he has a big teeth, and the reasons why people associated this disease with vampirism because of the paranoia, hallucination, poorly healing skin, and photosensitivity. Photosensitivity means that these insects, when they touches light, their skin touches light or hits light, the skin will burn because they lack some of the important chemicals in the body. This is the treatment. This treatment, drinking animal blood for anemia treatment, is actually stopped nowadays. So they use panhematin, which is a medicine, in order to correct the heme deficiency in the liver. So it will actually increase the amount of heme in the red blood cell, so the people can actually breathe normally and live. And these are the examples of porphyria patients. As you can see, this guy here with the beard, he has a super sensitive photosensitivity. And these two brothers over here is a very rare cases because it is very rare to have, it's not very rare to have a twins, but it's very rare to have a twins which both these two kids have these diseases. Okay, now I'm going to talk about werewolves. Werewolves can also be found in Twilight, but I'm not actually a fan of Twilight, so what is werewolf? Werewolves are creatures that is believed to shapeshift into a wolf or hybrid wolf-like creatures. There is actually a lot of argument that says, what is a werewolf? Some people argue that werewolf is actually a wolf that is able to turn into human willingly. Some believe that werewolf is actually a human that turns into a wolf permanently, and it's also, or the third party believe that werewolf is actually a wolf that is bitten by a werewolf that is able to change willingly, so the first werewolf won't be able to change again. Sorry. The scientific explanation that says that lycanthrope or werewolf do not exist is that the ergot fungus. This fungus has hallucinogenic properties, which means it makes you high or not think right. Basically, it's almost like craziness. This ergot fungus will spread through the foods of the people, and when these people eat the food, the chemicals of the fungus will then infect the human, which causes them to paranoid and hallucinate. So when they actually hallucinated, the whole population is actually hallucinating because the fungus is actually it grows very rapidly. So there is a place where everyone believes that they saw people turning into a wolf, which is the werewolf, or they believe that they once have turned into a wolf. And actually this is all because of the hallucinogenic properties of the fungus. And this lycanthropy is also associated with hypertrichosis and rabies. And this is hypertrichosis. It is basically the humans will grow a lot of hairs. And by growing a lot of hairs, I mean abnormal growth rate of hairs. It doesn't only affect children, it affects all people, men, women, and not only the face, it also affects every part of your body. And by that I mean every part of your body. This disease is believed to be genetic, which means it is also inherited, but it is very rare, so it's okay. Safe. You're safe. And it can also be due to spontaneous mutation, which means it happens just by chance. So just because you do not have the disease now, or you are free from the disease, since you are free from the disease, it is less likely for your offspring to experience this. Due to mutation mutation, your child can also experience these diseases. Here are some unpermanent treatment because people have yet to find a permanent cure for this disease, which is repeated shaving, chemical epilation, which means you remove the hair by using chemicals, electrolysis and thermolysis, which means you use temperature to destroy the hairs, but the hairs will grow again. This one, the laser hair removal, is the latest invention. No, it's not the latest invention. It's the latest treatment which is provided for people with these conditions. And as you can see, these 4 people here, all of them are having a lot of hairs. But this woman over here, not only having a lot of hairs, she has a monkey-like face, and this is actually a severe... No offense. This is actually a severe kind of mutation. Not only she has this hypertrichosis, which grows a lot of hairs, she also have another mutation. Rabies. Rabies is usually, people know rabies from dogs, but not only dogs that spread rabies, even bats spread rabies, and rodents. But rodents rarely do spread rabies, so be careful when you find a rat, because they might have rabies. It is also theorized that rabies is the reasons why people believe that vampires and werewolves are real. This is because when you got bitten by a dog infected with rabies, the rabies virus will then go into your brain and it will mess up your brain in some way and that you don't want to know. And it will turn you insane. Then you will start to bite people and you think it's normal. And that is why people believe that vampires or werewolves actually exist because of rabies. Because people with rabies, usually they don't act like normal people. They act like wild animals like dogs, wolves. And here are the symptoms: fever and tingling at the site of exposure. So basically, if the dogs bite you at your forearm, so your forearm feels tingling. And after this, I'm going to talk about the third example of my talk of the mythical creatures, which is Flying Dutchman. Flying Dutchman, I only know of Flying Dutchman after I watched SpongeBob. the green ghost that haunts SpongeBob all the time. Flying Dutchman is actually not the ship, but it's the commandeer of the ship, which names Van der Decken. He is actually, I'm not sure what race he is. I think it's around France, but during the time he passes to the Cape of Good Hope, which located south of South Africa. But then suddenly his ship almost broke along the coast. Then a vessel came to him, or a ghost came to him and proposes a deal, and he did something to hurt the feeling of the ghost, so the ghost curses him to set sail the coast forever. And the reasons, so Flying Dutchman is actually, it's actually the captain that is called the Flying Dutchman, but people often believe that Flying Dutchman is the ship. So for argument's sake, I'm referring the Flying Dutchman as the ship. The Flying Dutchman, for the lore of ocean, it is a very bad sign to see the Flying Dutchman, because if you see the Flying Dutchman, for example, the sailors that see the Flying Dutchman will never reach land, so basically they die in the ocean. And the scientific reasons why Flying Dutchmen actually do not exist is because of mirage. And mirage is just illusion, which is due to the reflection of light due to different density of air. So when this is the actual ship, and the light passes from the ship to your eyes, so that's why you can see the ship, because the light reflected into your eyes. because the medium here, the air between the ships and your eyes, is actually of different density. The lighter density is on the bottom, of which is the cold air. The air is cooled by the ocean water, and on top of the light dense air is the high density air. So when light pass through, the speed of the light is different. So when the speed of the light is different and the angle of refraction of the light is different, so basically the light is traveling not straight. So when the light is not traveling straight, your brain is basically messed up. So I'm going to show you the pictures. So as you can see here, this is you and this is the shape, the object. So due to the different density of air here, this is the cold air and this is the colder air. So basically this is the warm air and this is the cold air. When the light are supposed to travel straight line, but because of the different density, the light will then bend or refract, and it will go like a curve, projectile into your eyes. But our brain are not, it's not invented, it's not created to process things that is it. Our brain thought all light travel in a straight path, no matter the density of all the things around us. So, because the light is actually traveling in an arc, our brain perceives it as it travels in a straight line. So this is the path of the light which our brain perceives, but it's actually wrong. So because the light is actually the perception of the brain of the light traveling this way, so it creates an image. The object looks this big, but actually the size of the object is very small. So that is why people see the Flying Dutchman because of this. This is actually the size of the real ship, and due to mirage or superior mirage, the ship appears bigger and it looks like it floats above the clouds. But as I have said earlier, not all mysteries science have explained yet. And these are the examples of the things that science have yet to solve, which is the Bermuda Triangle, the famous Devil Triangle, and the Taos mystery humming. Taos is actually in Mexico. Bermuda Triangle. People said that all the ships that passes through the triangle will be gone and will never be found again. Some reasons suggested that there is actually like a big pothole below the center of the triangle, the imaginary triangle, and due to the holes, there's a lot of gases which floats above the ocean surface, and this will reduce the buoyancy of the ships. Therefore, the ships will then sink. That's why, but that is just a theory, and people have yet to actually know what's the reason. And this Taos mysterious humming in Mexico, in Taos, people are hearing random sounds or like the sounds like that in the sky. So people thought it's a ghost, but scientists try to explain this, but they cannot, because people believe that because all the people in the town, almost all people in the town heard the sounds, but not all. So in order to indicate that these people are actually not lying, that they have listened to a mysterious sounds, the scientists have put a machine that is very sensitive to sound to actually measure the frequency of sounds if there is actually this sound is existing. But after using the machine, there is no such proof that the sound existed. So this thing has remained a mystery. It is also suggested that all of the people have tinnitus, which is a problem of the ear, which means you are start to hear something that is not there. For example, you heard your mom call you like, "Oi!" Then you go to your mom and you didn't find, and your mom said, "I didn't call you." So that's actually what's happening here. But this time it's not but this time it's not on you, but it's all people of the village. So it is less likely for all the people to be wrong, something stuff. Okay, thank you for listening. Say that the knowledge in the universe is infinite, and we are barely scratching the knowledge of the universe. So, assuming that we put the amount of knowledge that we know all the people into a numerical value, which is around less than infinity. So when a number less than infinity, such as 1, 2, or 1,000 billions, divided by infinity, it will be then virtually zero. So basically, we do not know anything about the universe. So the probability of you guys being a unicorn is there. Okay, thank you. Questions?
About the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
You were saying about the boat sinking, right? Actually, Bermuda Triangle still mystifies the world, because if a ship disappears or sunk, it must be found, right?
Yes.
But Bermuda Triangle, nothing at all is found.
That's why it's a mystery.
Somebody's panty or anything that is lost must be found, right? Yes. But Bermuda Triangle is a very strange thing, which still mystifies Mr. Chu. Nothing at all is found. That is the one that I really mystified.
That's true, sir. Any more questions or comments? No more questions? You can ask anything about those.
Is there a record where airplanes are lost when they pass through the Bermuda Triangle?
Yes, there is actually a record. The ships, the aeroplanes that pass, not only aeroplanes but ships, because the Bermuda Triangle is located between USA and Mexico, and this place is very full with activity of businessmen that travels with ships, such as cargo ships, but almost all the ships that passes through here sinks. And there's a record, there's a record. No more questions? I'll open the session for 1 minute. Question and answer. Yes, next.
You said everything that sees the Flying Dutchman.
What? Yes.
You said that everything that sees the Flying Dutchman, everyone that sees it, doesn't
Yes.
come back. So how do people know about it?
That's why it's a mystery. Yes.
If you were to cross the Bermuda Triangle, would you?
I don't have enough money to pass over. Yes, I would like to go to the Bermuda Triangle to see what's happening there. It's almost time. Yes? Okay. The triangle is actually not an island, it's a perimeter of area. The three vertices of the triangle, the Bermuda, the Puerto Rico and Miami, is actually a land. So this is a land, and a land. The perimeter of this land actually creates the triangle. So it's actually an ocean. Sea. Yes?
Does the Bermuda Triangle ever well all the time?
I'm not sure.
Do they create the triangle based on the records?
Yes, but some believe that it is actually not a triangle, but it's a trapezium, because the perimeter of the trapezium is, this is a triangle here, here and here, but there's actually another point here, so it's actually not a perfect trapezium. So it forms trapezium like this, because according to records, there are also some of the ships that is missing around here. So this is also one of the area which is encompasses inside the triangle, the Bermuda Triangle. So it's not Bermuda Triangle anymore. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the interesting choice of topic, and thank you for sacrificing your lunchtime to attend our lecture. If any one of you is interested in giving a talk, please see one of the YSF members. Also, please subscribe to our newsletter and take a look at our blog and other social medias. Thank you.